Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I did a whole video on my TikTok to put it onto my Instagram, and oh boy, it didn't work. I didn't save, and it was a good video. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it on here and figure it out. So I've got my notes as always, so I don't go all over the place. But the topic today I wanted to talk a little bit about was three systemic reasons why you might not be attracting the right partner. I want to say, I think this isn't something that a lot of people talk about. We might talk about it in a different context, but in those that are dating or trying to find a partner or looking to connect at a deeper level with somebody, and we feel like we're almost like unlucky or we have bad luck and that we're not connecting to the right person. And it's never because you're too much, and it's never because you're not healed enough. I would say, like, we don't have to be fully healed to find or connect to the right people. And this could be friends, but mostly I'm talking about loving partners. But in general, I don't I don't like to say this is always a reason, but I say 99% of the time, there's something systemic underneath it all. I would say it's what's outside of you is just a reflection of what's going on inside of you. And a lot of times we just look outside, but we don't realize there's some very deep unconscious wounding that is coming from our childhood, could be our inner child, that's causing us to attract partners that don't align with who in our mind and in our heart we feel the vision we hold for the future, right? From a family constellation perspective, partnership, it's not just a psychological thing or an emotional thing, it's energetic. A lot of times when the partner doesn't come in or we don't connect to the partners that really are equal, that respect us, that we can see each other, we can accept each other fully, because something's off internally within ourselves in our family system. So these are just some of the three main blocks I see with people in general not being able to connect to the what I call the right partner. The number one resounding is the flow of giving and receiving is off. It's not in balance. It's all over the place. And a lot of times will be too much in giving or too much in expecting and receiving. And that throws everything off. There's a reason for it though. In a healthy relationship, there is a healthy balance of giving and receiving. Um, and that moves the energy between the two individuals. Um, I think I find it difficult for people to receive when they were parentified as a child, where they felt like they were their parents' mother or father, um, where you might have not emotionally felt held by your parents, but also it's almost like for a lot of us, it's like belief systems, not only because our parents lived those out and we experienced it, we saw it, but a lot of times it becomes ours because of ancestors or because of what we experienced with our parents, of almost feeling like love equals responsibility. And we get into relationships over giving. That's a whole thing. Like I feel that at a deep level. That's something that I truly understand from my own personal experience. Um, and you could have been emotionally neglected. You could have felt alone, that you felt that your parents were also so wounded. Maybe you understand that at a like intellectual and emotional level today, that your parents couldn't show up for you in the way that you needed them to, and you felt emotionally abandoned, right? I think a lot of times we think of things have to be so traumatic. Sometimes it could be very small things that created chaos within ourselves and in the system. Um, if you can't receive, where does that love go? Like that's the question I ask, right? You have to be able to be in, obviously our nervous system has a lot to do with this, right? To receive also, I would say we have to be in our feminine energies. Doesn't matter what gender you are or any of that, because we all have to receive. It doesn't matter who you are and what role you play in the partnership. This is when you meet somebody, right? There is a degree and a level of vulnerability that we have to be in to be able to receive. That means we're open, that we feel safe. And a lot of times when we don't feel safe in relationships, we're correcting relationships don't allow us to be ourselves, don't feel safe, is because we didn't feel that way growing up when we were little. It's just a pattern, really. It's not, there's anything wrong with us. It's a pattern and something that we almost equate to what love is, right? Because that's what we experienced. A lot of times it could be that your grandparents might have felt that way with your mom or your father, and then that you unconsciously connect to that as well. That is possible here as well. So this flow of love, giving and receiving is off. We've learned a specific pattern, then we follow that unconsciously in relationships, even though we may dream or think about, oh, it'd be nice to like receive this or feel this way. But unconsciously, that's not what's happening. Our mind's one thing, our body and our emotions are another, and the unconscious obviously is another. Our parents' relationship story is number two. I'm going to have all of this in the notes. It's almost like this. Think of it this way, almost like that the child or the person, because obviously we're now adults. You're probably looking at this as an adult today, but as a child, you became loyal to the emotional fate of your parents. If your mom felt alone, she had to deal with everything alone because your father wasn't in the picture, vice versa. If your father was maybe emotionally available or your mother was emotionally unavailable, if you experienced their connection as painful, they might have argued a lot. There might have been violence. There might have been a lot of things, right? We don't know. We can unconsciously repeat the story. The amount of times I see people come to me in a reading or in a family constellation where they say, I'm living out my parents' relationship. And this could be very deep, painful things, but they don't want to. At a conscious level, they don't want to, but they are repeating it and they keep attracting it because within themselves, they're still feeling loyal to them. I've done another video about sometimes us feeling like we're blocked, but really it's just a loyalty. This is part of it, right? This is why I brought this topic in, kind of in connection to that. Because this starts at a very primal kind of energy, right? Of if you don't belong, you get excluded and you could perish, right? Like that is literally how basic and how fundamental this is and how we work, right? Because even though we are souls incarnated here, we are very human. We have human energies, right? And if we didn't feel safe growing up, if our parents didn't feel safe growing up, we're going to repeat that story. Not to mention if it goes further back, of course. And a lot of times it's safer, right, to belong than to do something different. We might not think that at a conscious level, but it is. And it's like this. I kind of have it written down here. It's like think of it this way: if loving differently feels like leaving your parents behind, part of you will hesitate. You're going to think about it twice. And remember, it's all energy. We're going to attract what we feel will keep us close, will keep us safe. It's not conscious, right? And this is where people have like a disconnect. And this is why family constellations and sometimes Akashic records can be so powerful. People are like, that is exactly what's happening here. And you're like, oh, yeah, exactly. You just didn't, you weren't conscious of it. You didn't realize it. You weren't awakened to that energy, right? And this is pure and deep systemic loyalty to our family. And I know you might say here, well, but I don't get along with my mom and I don't get along with my dad. It doesn't matter. These are very deep primal things that we need to look at because we may be loyal to them. And if we felt that our parents didn't have a good relationship and they suffered, right? They suffered through the relationship, but they stood together. Or even this, like this comes up a lot, that one of the parents, or maybe even both, felt obligated to be with the person because maybe the woman got pregnant. Maybe that was what was expected of them. Maybe they left behind somebody else to be with this person, your father, let's say. I'll use the example of a mother, right? That she she actually had a relationship with somebody else at some point before maybe your father came into the picture, but there's still residual feelings. It's like the one that got away. That's a big thing here. Like I see this a lot in readings, and in constellations. And that is a story that your mom might hold within herself of, I'm never going to be able to be with the person that actually makes me happy because I had to choose this over here for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. Um, or even unresolved things with previous relationships that one of your parents might have had. That happens more often than you would think. And doesn't mean you have to go talk to your parents and ask them this, but we would see this come up in a constellation, right? And maybe you know the story. Maybe your mom spoke about it. Maybe your father spoke about it. This could go in either direction. This could be a grandparent even. But there's so many deep things that can be uncovered in a constellation or a record reading, an Akashic record reading, that it awakens us. It brings us the consciousness to understand, oh, okay, I see why this is why I'm attracting this because it repeats this. And then you can be more aware, you can be more kind, more curious about everything. The third reason is you're still standing as the child. You're not in your adult energy. And in order for a healthy relationship to exist between two people, they have to be in their adult energy. That means that they're not coming from this wounded child energy, right? This wounded inner child, because that will project things out. And you're obviously going to attract somebody that's going to help see those wounds so you can heal them. This is where I say to people, they're mirroring back something to you because you're coming from a more, from this more inner child energy than your adult, even though you could be conscious of things, right? A partnership is two adults that come together as equals with their own stories, with their own background, with their own families, and they make a conscious decision to come together and to accept each other as they are. That is a huge thing here. I was actually out at dinner with some friends, and we were talking about this. I was like, that is exactly it. If you do not accept that person just as they are, then you may also be falling into patterns, right? Because maybe your mom didn't accept your father didn't accept your mother, or it just puts you in this internal chaos to feel the same way your mom felt or your father felt. Um, and I also say that you're in your child energy, you might still be holding space. You might be still looking at your parents. So you're not over here with your partner. I see this even with people that are in current relationships, right? Where they come and they say, I want to work on this relationship with my partner, or they ask about their partner in a reading. And it comes through very clearly that they're not looking at their partner. They're not standing by their partner. They're over there with their parents because there's wounding and they're still expecting something to come from their mom or their dad, or they're still expecting their dad to change, right? And that's also acceptance. It's if I accept the story that I lived with my parents, if I accept that they showed up the only way that they could, because they come with their own story, they come with their own wounding, I can stand here in my place. And I'm not in that place with my parents, because a lot of times it could be that I'm my mom's partner because my father abandoned my mom or left and got up and left, or they divorced. And my mom was so heartbroken that I ended up stepping in energetically as her partner. I hear this all of the time. Or when you're in that childlike energy where you're trying to fix your mother and your father, you're looking at them, you're still seeking their approval, right? Because that can happen a lot. Because that validates some part of you that's still wounded. Um, and that's a tricky energy because that doesn't allow space for you to stand by a partner, be it that you're looking for a partner or you're in a relationship. Um, Love requires you to be facing forward, not looking back at your family. You have your path with your partner, or even on your own. We're talking about partnership now, but some people are like, I'm good on my own. I want to just open up to life. That's valid too here, right? But love requires you to be standing on your own 2 feet in your adult energy, looking forward and facing life. If there's any part of you that's turned back, looking back at your parents, at your ancestors, that partnership you're in, that partner that's standing by your side, it's going to be really hard for that to be a stable, loving, respectful, equal partnership. And one of the two people are going to be probably unavailable emotionally or physically even mentally even, right? These are just three main things that I wanted to mention because I think these are such common things I see all the time. I felt like it could have maybe served some of you in the context of your own healing or what you're looking at, or this pattern that you see that you also feel like, oh, I'm so unlucky with love, or I'm not living in the right place. I should move to Italy and meet somebody there. I should move to Spain. Generally, it's not about the physical stuff. It's generally more about what we haven't worked within ourselves that's reflecting outside of us. So something feels blah. Um, I think some good things to kind of some takeaways for this video, because I always like to leave something, right, that you can work through. Like start to look at this pattern. I always say we're always the common denominator. If we see a pattern, it's not the other people outside of us, it's us. What is something that connects you to this could be past relationships, right? What is a similar feeling in each one? What position did I play in each one? Get curious about your relationship with your parents, right? Like, for some people, they could have been adopted and they could have not had their actual parents, their biological parents present for many reasons, right? There could be many dynamics here. It's hard to really, I'm speaking in general terms because I'm just kind of putting out certain scenarios, but um, look at your family dynamic, sit with it, bring it love, bring it curiosity, and just really sit with accepting what's happened. I think the more we accept our mom, accept our father, accept our situation, accept how they could show up for us, the more we kind of unburden ourselves and we're not looking back as much, right? Obviously, this could be a lot deeper work, which I can help you with, obviously, with a family constellation or an Akashic record reading, or there's energy work. I mean, I always tell people, whatever you're feeling called to, move towards it, trust it. Um, a lot of these loyalties become unconscious and they limit us. And it's not helping anybody. It's not helping us. And the idea is that we can give it back with love, put it in its place so we can take our place and then we can have somebody by our side. It's energy, right? And it's also so many little things that sometimes we need to move around and fit in its rightful place for the energy to flow and so that we can move forward. This could resonate when you're in a relationship, and it can resonate because even like you being in a relationship, why is the partner that I have by my side not doesn't feel like the right person? That could be valid here too. This work to me is incredible. I do this with money blocks. I do this stuff in family constellations with relationship, like working on your relationship with your mom, working on your relationship with your father, working on your relationship to a future partner. Like that could be a thing too. It's wonderful how we can just look at all of this. And this isn't about blaming your parents. This isn't about pointing our fingers. This isn't about judging. It's about accepting, understanding their pain, understanding what they went through, feeling into that, giving it back to them, and being able to unburden. I think a lot of us, this lack of flow of giving and receiving is coming from our dynamics growing up. I would say most of us. And we don't even realize it because we're repeating it with the people we meet or the people we have by our side. And it's never too late to do our work. I always say that because people are like, oh, I'm too old, or I just keep doing this. I can't move out of this loop. Our soul doesn't work in that timeline. Our soul works slowly. Our soul works with curiosity, with unconditional love. That is how we nurture ourselves. And then obviously doing our inner child work, taking care of ourselves, listening to ourselves, connecting to our body, working through things in our nervous system, being able to regulate, feel safe. All that in conjunction, not you don't have to do it all at once, but all that in conjunction helps us kind of just come back to ourselves, stand in our place, and be able to attract and connect. And we have to choose it too. Like I say that, like we may think we want something, but a lot of people are like, when am I going to meet my person? It's like, are you open to it? Because if you're not open to the love that you can give yourself, how can you be open to the love somebody can give you? You're not going to recognize it. It all starts with us. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it's 100% true. And this isn't that the moment you heal everything, you meet the person. No, you meet the person in that process of healing. That is how it works. And don't be fooled, I think, with people tell you have to do all this work to meet the person. No, it's in the work. It's in the meeting ourselves that person can meet us. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate. I feel like I overcomplicate it sometimes. I have overcomplicated it. It's crazy how our mind can just wander all over the place, and really it's just right in front of us. It's right within us that we can do that work. And obviously sometimes we need somebody to hold our hand through that. If you guys are curious about these topics, like tell me, comment below. Let me know what kind of things you want me to talk about on my channel. Obviously, if you're interested in family constellations, reach out. I have some other videos on here on my channel. I've done posts about it on my Instagram, so I'll see if I can link some of those here. And just know that people will meet us where we're at. So it's our responsibility to do the work. I'm sending you all a big hug. I'm actually glad that that video didn't save and that I'm here right now, because I feel like this is such a, I do better on long format videos for some reason. I really love YouTube, and I'm really doing my best to show up and really create content that can be useful and that can help you not feel alone, but also they can give you some insights into the work that could help you, right? So please give me your feedback. Let me know what you guys think, and if this resonates with you, because I think so many people come to me with this. It's fascinating how doing this work can just open the whole energy up, even to be in a better place with ourselves. I'm sending you all a big hug. Um, I'll be back soon with another video, but let me know if you guys want me to do any specific topics or anything, and feel free to check out some of my older videos. Like and subscribe. I'm trying to connect with people in a community here and do more posts, so I'd really appreciate if you can like and subscribe and comment if you like. Sending you all a big hug. See you soon. Thanks, guys.